As human beings, all of us grow and become more powerful when we have good training. And good training should come from people who have gone through what we are going through and have went through the challenges but come back successfully. At Prison Professors, we are striving to provide that type of training to people who are in custody. And we're doing this with jails and prisons all across the country. The first time this began was really toward the end of my journey of going through 26 years in prison. I received a visitor inside of the federal prison in, I think I was in Lompoc, California at the time. And my friend is a successful business guy, and he was inviting me to come work with his company. But I told him that my hopes were that I could build a career around my journey. It's unusual to have spent a quarter century in prison and be able to maintain a high level of energy and discipline and confidence, because prisons are really designed to extinguish hope and to let a person know that that nobody really cares about anything about his life until after he gets out. And inside of the institution, there is a constant message that all the institution is concerned about is the security of the institution. Well, as somebody who has gone through institutions of every security level, I recognize that there is a real need in society for programs that will help people overcome that level of really, dehumanization, I guess is a good word for it, because prisons really, that's what they tend to do, is they dehumanize people. They keep people away from the people we love and the people who love us, and we are surrounded by people who are living without hope. And in that type of environment, there are, it really leads to a proliferation of subcultures that nobody in society wants. But as somebody who's gone through it and found hope and found a pathway through, I really believed that I had a duty and a responsibility to share the strategies that leaders taught me. And I learned these lessons from leaders of all walks of life, whether they were from sports, whether they were from philosophy, whether they were from academia, whether they were from business. All leaders have a valid message to share. And so when I received this visitor, and I think it was at Lompoc Federal Prison, it could have been at any other. I was in so many prisons, I sometimes lose count of which one I had this visit. But I was sharing this story with my friend, and he asked me how I intended to do it, and I started telling him about a couple of people that inspired me. One of them was Susie Welch, who many of you may know is the wife of the legendary chairman of General Electric, Jack Welch. And Susie was a journalist, as I recall, and she wrote and profiled business leaders. And through that work, she came up with this concept that is called 10-10-10. And what she talks about in 10-10-10 is that anybody can be a CEO. Anybody can develop a CEO mindset. But what they have to do is they have to frame their thoughts in terms of how their decisions and the actions that they are taking are going to influence their life in the next 10 minutes, in the next 10 months, and in the next 10 years. So really valuable guidance, and I certainly learned a lot from that guidance, because prisons are volatile environments. There's always something going on. There's always a problem. And sometimes an individual can choose to participate in the problem. And if they do, it can really exacerbate their situation. It can lead to them spending time in segregated housing units. It can lead to new criminal charges. It can lead to the disqualification for certain programs that could potentially lead a person to get out a little bit early. It could lead to any number of challenges. And so, we have to think in terms of saying, how are we going to define success? And if we define success in a clear way, and we create strategies that will help us execute on that plan, we can effectively become the CEO of our own life. And so I was telling my friend about this concept. I'm trying to get light, that's why I'm moving this iPhone around. As I told my friend about this concept, he said, well, you can't really build a career around 10-10-10 because that's Susie Welch's idea. You need to have your own 10-10-10. And that was really good advice. And of course, it comes from a CEO. So, another legendary CEO, Steve Jobs, told us that, a good artist copies ideas, but a great artist steals ideas. So it was prudent for me to begin thinking about, okay, I've got to steal this idea of really helping people achieve their highest potential. And I need to do that before I get out of prison. So I spent the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years of my time in prison writing this series of books that you see on our website at prisonprofessors.com. The first one is Earning Freedom, Conquering a 45-year Prison Sentence. And in Earning Freedom, what we do is we try to show how to maintain a high level of energy and discipline while going through multiple decades in prison. It's a very important skill set to develop, and it's one that translates into success upon release. That's a rather extensive book at about 140,000 words. I think it clocks in at more than 500 pages. And if you want the audio version of the book, you can get it for free just by listening to it in 20-minute clips. I don't know where the links are as I'm sitting here filming this in Central Park, New York, but you can find it by scrolling around our website at Prison Professors or just visiting our iTunes channel, the Prison Professors iTunes channel. I think it starts at episode number 110. And there's probably about 45 or 50 episodes that covers the entire book. The second book is called Prison, My 8,344th Day. And that tells the story of how to get through a journey day by day. So I really modeled that after the story of a day in the life of Ivan Denisovich. I think that's how they pronounce it, by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who told the story about getting through a day inside of a Siberian prison camp. I then wrote Triumph, the Straight A Guide, which is this concept of our 10-10-10 concept about really defining success, setting very clear goals as the prerequisites to embarking upon the Straight A Guide. And that Straight A Guide is helping people understand that you've got to have the right attitude. You've got to have an aspiration of seeing yourself as being successful and not as a prisoner. You've got to take incremental action steps, knowing that those little steps that you take today are going to put you on the pathway to success in the weeks, months, years, and decades ahead. Then you've got to create your own accountability metrics, meaning, you've got to be doing this for the right reasons, but you've got to know the progress that you are supposed to make, not only by the day, but by the week, but by the month, by the year, by the multi-year plans. And you know that if you're pursuing this path, you are going to be in control of your own destiny. The next component in the Straight A Guide is the concept of awareness, where if you're on this path, an individual becomes more aware of opportunities that he can seize and harness and move forward. And simultaneously, the marketplace becomes aware of him. And through that awareness, opportunities open. Then we move into the next A, which is authenticity. A person has to be for real. He can't just talk about wanting to be successful. He can't use this concept of happy talk. He's got to be somebody who actually does what he says he's going to do. No, I don't want to use profanity because some prisons don't want me to send these messages in using profanity, so I won't use it. But just no type of nonsense, no inauthenticity. If you say you're going to do it, you got to do it. And so, we kind of define that by really defining success and then documenting a strategy of how you're going to get there. We talk about the importance of developing tools, tactics, and resources, and then the importance of measuring your progress every single day. The next A in our program is about celebrating achievements. We've got to celebrate achievements no matter how small, understanding that the little achievements we take today are going to put us on a pathway to higher levels of success in the days, weeks, months, years, and decades to come. And then finally, the next component of our program is showing appreciation. We want to show gratitude for the blessings that have come our way. And if we continue that cycle, new opportunities open. So we came up with all of this work while I was still in prison. And then together with my friend and partner, Justin Paperny, we launched a series of ventures that would help us bring these programs into jails and prisons across America. And I don't recall, the first one actually was the Sunburst Academy, a military academy in Orange County, California, that worked with at-risk adolescents. Then we started moving into, I think it was the Los Angeles County Jail, and then to Washington State Department of Corrections, and later into some tablet-based devices that we were able to get our programs into, and then New York City Department of Corrections and Washington State Department of Corrections, and Federal Bureau of Prisons, and then the California Department of Corrections, and most recently we've opened a relationship with the Mecklenburg County Jail. These are the strategies that we take to train people inside how to build a positive mindset, how to develop the CEO mindset, how to prepare for success even while they're living in the midst of struggle. And these are lessons that I would say I've learned from many leaders who are residents of those high-rise buildings right there in New York City, where I will be for the next few days as I continue to develop these efforts. Right now we're focused on building curriculums and platforms to help people with government investigations, but we're always focused and obsessed with trying to help people in jail and prison. And if you're watching this episode inside of a jail or a prison, I hope that you find value in this message, and I hope that you take the necessary action steps to put yourself on a pathway to success. Regardless of where you are, it's never too early and it's never too late to begin sowing seeds for a better life. Those were lessons that leaders taught me while I was going through 26 years in prison, and they're lessons that I continue to follow through with this day. If you have a family member outside and you have an opportunity to have them visit us at prisonprofessors.com, you'll find an abundance of resources that will help you as you're working through this journey. We encourage you to tell your family members to subscribe to us on Prison Professors YouTube channel or our iTunes channel so that they can stay current with what we're teaching you. More than 100,000 people go through our programs every single year, and we're really enthusiastic about expanding this program because we really believe in you, and we want to provide you with as much resources that we can to help you reach your highest potential. I am Michael Santos, and on behalf of our entire team at Prison Professors, I want to thank you for being a part of our community. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks.